Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I want to talk about what makes mistakes great. So I know of course a lot of people, most people try to avoid mistakes as much as possible. Most people are even a little apprehensive about making mistakes. So a lot of people don't like to make mistakes or try to avoid it because they think that mistakes or making mistakes means that they're not good at something, that they are, showing others their weaknesses. And some people are just, perfectionists. So there's that apprehension or that fear of making mistakes that kind of overwhelms them. And then there are people that get really focused on the fact that they've made some mistakes, and like if they're trying to learn a new skill or they're trying to develop a new habit or they're trying to reach a goal. And some people get really focused on their mistakes as well, so to the point where it's hard for them to see beyond the mistakes that they're making and see their potential beyond the mistakes that they're currently making. Whatever the case for someone's apprehension about making mistakes might be, what happens ultimately is that it does take away, for a lot of people it does take away their confidence or continuing with the new task, the new responsibility, the new skill that they might be engaging in. So of course that part of it is negative, and I want to talk today about what makes mistakes great so that we can shift the focus away from this kind of like the negative, that association that we make with making mistakes, and kind of focus on the positive of it and hopefully gain a new perspective by looking at mistakes a little bit differently. I think the PR for mistakes kind of had it all wrong in terms of, just burdening mistakes with just being the negative side of things. But really, when you think about it, if you're making mistakes, what it also means is that you're learning, that you're trying something new, that you're growing, you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and you're doing something that you didn't know today. And if you keep at it, you are going to know it tomorrow or the day after or a week after. But there will come a time where you will know it. You have to give yourself some time. You have to give, you have to allow some patience and some effort to be spent on the new task or skill that you're learning. And the fact that you're making mistakes just shows that you now know more than you did before you made that mistake, right? So it's really just a practical lesson. You've applied yourself to something. You have now taken on a new skill, a new responsibility, and you didn't know these things before. And now that you're actually applying yourself, you are learning lessons along the way, and it's going to make you wiser and stronger, and it's going to be ultimately better for you because now you are going to know more and you're going to grow with that, and you're going to develop yourself. And that's the exciting part. And mistakes are bound to happen. That is just a part of life. Imagine if you did something and there was no potential for you to make any mistakes, and you made a decision and there's no potential for you to get that decision wrong. Well, if you did everything correctly or if you did everything perfectly, I don't think anyone really would be celebrating that, because then what's the big deal? You already knew the answer, you already had the skill set, there's no possibility for you to fail at something. So it takes the potential away from you for being great, right? Because if there's no potential for you to fail or for you to make mistakes or for you to get something wrong, then even if you do it perfectly every single time, it's not a big deal because there was never that potential even for you to make mistakes, right? But because that element exists, tomorrow when you know better and you don't make that mistake, that means a lot more than if that element of making a mistake never even existed, that possibility didn't even exist, and then you didn't make a mistake, because that is not impressive. Like, that is just how things would be. But with the potential for you to make mistakes, with the potential for you to start off being bad at something or not being great at something, with the potential of you failing at something in the beginning, then your progress and your success at something means so much more, because you have overcome a challenge. You have learned and you have grown and you've developed and you've spent time and energy to be better and be stronger and be wiser in regards to the thing that you're tackling, right? So mistakes are gonna happen. That is that is just a part of life. That is just a part of learning something new, of growing, right? But the thing is that we need to shift the focus away from that mistake and learn to take it as a lesson, appreciate that lesson, say thank you to that lesson, and then move forward. And really the idea is also to look at the big picture, right? So if you focus on the mistakes that you're making today and getting overwhelmed by them, then it really shifts your focus on the now. And yes, of course, now is important, but you have to remember that if you, for example, are starting out on something, you have to allow yourself some time, right, to be able to grow into a new skill, to grow into a new responsibility. And you always have to remember that you have the potential to grow. You have it in you to overcome those mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. That's the important part. That's what they're there for. They're not to discourage you, they're to help you be great and to blossom into, you know, becoming an expert or becoming better, or like getting to the point wherever you want to be. But really, that's what mistakes are there for, so that you know better. But they're not there to discourage you, and hopefully you take them as that. And here's the thing too, right? It's a mistake if you just kind of let it be a mistake. So let's say you try something new. You don't get it right the first time. Maybe not even the 10th, 20th time you don't get it right. Now, that setback could be a mistake if you don't learn from it. But if you learn from it, then it's just a lesson. And we want those in life. We want more lessons so that we know better and do better and be better, right? So if you shift that focus and focus on the positive in any situation, it's a lot easier for us to then not be weighed down by these kinds of circumstances, but really be uplifted by them and really help us along the way. You have to focus on the big picture in terms of where you want to be, and you have to believe in yourself at all times to say, hey, you know what, that's where I want to go. That you have it in you to be able to get to the point that you want to be at, and not let that mistake or a series of mistakes even define you. And you just have to look at them as lessons, learn from them, and then quickly move past them so that they don't weigh you down, but they help lift you up and propel you into the right direction. Because I think that is the important function that they serve, and that's what they should be limited to, and nothing more. They shouldn't weigh us down to the point where we can't move forward, but they should really just help propel us to the point that we want to go to, right? So I hope that this serves as a reminder for you to keep going on your goals. If you are starting something new, and I know that it's overwhelming at times, right? Like when you're starting something new and it's you want to be really good at it right off the bat. I get frustrated like that sometimes. Like I want to be really good at something the first time I do it, but of course that's not going to happen. It takes some practice, but when you do practice and keep at it and then you get better, it just means so much more and you appreciate it so much more. So you know, it's there to balance and to really make you appreciate. I think when I look at these kinds of things in life, the hardships, the mistakes, the failings, the setbacks, they're really, I look at them as ways to really have us appreciate the better parts and our own efforts and our own successful efforts at overcoming them. Just because, like I said, if there's no potential for you to get something wrong, then for you to be right is not that big of a deal, right? So we just have to remember that these are all there, these things are there to help us, and just look at them and find the positive in them, and then move forward, so that you can get to where you want to go. So I hope this serves as a reminder to anyone who's watching, to keep at it, to stick to your goals, and to not give up, really, right? Even if you're making mistakes right now, you will get better and you will progress, and if you learn from them, then you're doing the right thing, really, right? So that's all I have for today. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, or if you think that this might be helpful for someone else, please remember to share it. Until next time, take care of yourself and of this world. Khuda Hafiz.